You're not auditioning to be loved. Many of us sometimes got caught apologizing for needing things. Stop chasing closure and create it for yourself. Learn to trust yourself again. You're building a life that fits you, not the version of you who was trying to be loved, trying to prove that you deserved to be cared for and loved. The version of who you finally knows how to love yourself. Welcome to the Joy Act podcast. This is where strategy meets soul and healing after divorce gets real. I'm Dr. Lisa Summerour, author of the award-winning book, Divorce is Not a Destination, and creator of the A.A.C.T framework. It's the foundation for my professional women's divorce recovery program. So check that out. Today, I am in stage 7 of the loss cycle. I've been going through the entire loss cycle. And today I'm going to be talking about acceptance. Acceptance is where you stop avoiding, you stop fighting, and you stop trying to reframe the truth to make it more palatable, right? And I want to say this, when you are in a stage where you catch yourself reframing the truth, you may not even notice that you're doing it. You may be able to look back on it now and go, oh my gosh. Don't judge yourself for that. When that is happening, it's very possible that that's what your mind needs. That's what your psyche needs or needed in order for you to process things and deal with things in that moment, at that time. But acceptance is when you stop doing that. And it might not be this loud aha moment. It doesn't necessarily come in with all the drama and the kick the door in that you might have gone through when you were in the anger stage. And it may not be like bargaining, which tends to come in sort of with this little whisper. Think of acceptance as a slow sunrise. It's steady, it's unassuming, it's undeterred. And this is when you stop wrestling to hold on to what used to be and you start embracing what actually is. So acceptance is clarity with an exhale. You're not at, I'm glad it happened. You're at, it happened and I'm still here. You might be there now, quietly acknowledging reality without collapsing. Or maybe you're approaching it slowly and cautiously. And you could be fighting it tooth and nail, bargaining, replaying memories, Googling how to save a marriage that's already ended. If that's where you are, I see you. And whatever you do, avoid comparing yourself to anybody else in this phase. And don't let someone else tell you, you should have been there already. I've been waiting for you to get here. It took you long enough. Healing is not about somebody else's schedule in your life. It's about you being honest with yourself about where you are in your life. So before I go any further, I want to clear something up. I want to talk about some of the things that acceptance isn't. Acceptance is not approval. It's not about erasing the past or pretending that everything is okay when it clearly isn't. It's not about fake positivity where you never feel sad or angry or confused again. That's not what this is. And it's not you skipping grief or forgetting the love or the pain. Acceptance doesn't ask you to like what happened. That's not what it's about. It's just asking you to stop fighting the reality of what happened. So it might look like this. You're no longer editing that story. You're just reading what's on the page, just the way it's written, and you're seeing it for what it is now. And this is what emotional maturity looks like when it kicks in. It's surrendering, and it's not a weakness. It's actually you regaining your strength. Acceptance is interesting because it can be subtle. It can sneak up on you. Your thoughts might sound like, I miss them, but I don't want them back at the expense of myself. Or, yeah, we did have some good moments, and we also had some pretty broken ones. Or maybe it's, my story didn't end. It just took a different path. You've gone from asking why to joyfully wondering what now, what's next. And your nervous system has stopped bracing itself for impact every morning. Memories might still stir up some emotion, but not destruction. You can welcome memories might stir up emotion, but not destruction. So welcome to the era of responding to situations instead of reacting to incidents as they pop up. And by the way, you still do not have to unblock them on social media. That's not what acceptance has to be. Because understanding and accepting what is can also include the fact that this person is not aligned with you and your new life. So yes, they can stay blocked. And when you do that, you can take a cleansing breath that isn't fueled by anxiety. You'll know you've accepted the thing that was best for you right now. You might be surprised to find that you actually feel sort of neutral. I heard someone say once that the opposite of love isn't hate, it's indifference. So you may not be ecstatic, you may not feel devastated anymore. You're neutral, you're calm, you're accepting. It feels like stillness, steadiness. How about that? You can give shorter narratives about what happened and just more truth about where you are today. How about that? And what does that look like? And I'm going to be honest, because I can tell you when I was going through, I am a talker. I have girlfriends who know that I need to talk it out. And so thank God for them. They show me the grace of allowing me to work through it. Now, every now and then, because one of them is actually a coach that did my coach training. And she might say, I really want you to get to the place where you're not talking about that person so much. And I would be like, I'm not done. But I did get to a place where I realized, okay, I've talked it all out. And it is good to have those people that can be the guardrails in your bowling alley lane to kind of let you bounce around and keep you out of the gutter, right? So you don't get stuck in the gutter. And it's easy to do because there is bonding that can happen when you've gone through something traumatic, especially if you connect with someone else who can relate to the trauma. And it's really easy to find yourself just talking about that thing or that person or that pain or whatever it is. And so it's great to have people around you if you're not able to pull yourself out of it. At the same time, I do want to say that there's healing in you being able to get that stuff out. Sometimes people can write it out and, read it back. Sometimes I will tell people, talk to yourself in the mirror. I like to do the positive affirmations and wonderful things about yourself in the mirror, not necessarily the negative talk in the mirror, because I don't want you looking at yourself when you're having those negative conversations. But you can stand up and read what you wrote, or just stand up and walk around and talk around the room and get it out. What I want you to get is when you get into this acceptance phase, your narratives, those stories that you're telling, they're going to change. The stories about what happened will get shorter. They might get funny. This is when you may be able to, if you have a sense of humor and it's kind of been dampened because of what you've dealt with, you may start feeling it coming back up now. And it may throw some people off because they're like, okay, is she joking about this now? Yeah, you might be joking about it now. But those stories about all of the bad things start getting shorter. And what you're more interested in talking about is what's going on with you today. Okay? You'll find that you're no longer really here for all of the chaos that might have brought you through some of those other stages. You might have felt that a little chaos was sort of necessary because you were discombobulated. And you might wake up one day and while you're having your coffee or getting dressed, it'll occur to you, I didn't think about them the first thing this morning. And that revelation, that moment, that little aha, that's that sunrise experience. Now do be prepared, because sometimes that feeling of peace and calm and the absence of that chaos, when this first comes over you, it may feel uncomfortable because it's unfamiliar. When you have lived with chaos for a long time, peace can actually leave you feeling like something's not right. And that right there can cause you to resist it. You've built a successful career, checked all the right boxes, but after divorce, why does it feel like everything is falling apart? Searching for answers online at 2 a.m., it will not bring you peace. Neither will pretending you're fine when inside you're anything but. I remember those feelings, the exhaustion, the anxiety, and the frustration from feeling stuck. It seemed like no matter what I did, I could not figure out a way to move past the pain. If you are dealing with a divorce while you're also managing your career, I've been there. Things didn't get better for me until I stopped waiting for time to heal me and I took control of my own healing. And that's how this came about. That's why I designed the 4 essential steps to creating joy after a difficult divorce. It's time to break the cycle. Imagine waking up feeling lighter, knowing exactly what to do next, and rediscovering your joy, not just surviving, but thriving. In this masterclass, you'll learn the biggest mistakes that keep you stuck in divorce pain, why traditional recovery methods don't always work for high-achieving women, and the 4 essential steps to rebuilding your confidence and joy. Give yourself permission to stop reliving the past and start designing the future you deserve. Register today. You start wanting to nitpick at it and think something is wrong. So let's talk about what resistance might sound like. Maybe we could have fixed it, or if I had done better, or if they had just changed, if we had one more change. Now, this is coming up for you consistently. If it is coming up for you consistently, you may be cycling back through that bargaining stage, because those sentences, that's all about bargaining. Those sentences are all bargaining language. And so it's okay, because like I've told you in every one of these episodes, the loss cycle stages don't happen in a linear process, right? And you could go through one or more of the stages more than one time. So this is okay. This is the deal though. When you start healing, when you really get into this acceptance phase and you can move past any resistance and allow yourself to live in it, you'll find that healing accelerates the moment you stop resisting the reality of where you are. That's when your healing is really going to take off. Acceptance is not going to argue with the past. It's just going to observe it or witness it. Resistance says, change what happened. And acceptance tells you, learn from what happened. What can I get out of this? As an objective observer, what can I learn from what I've been? That's what acceptance will give you. That's the gift of acceptance. And when that shift occurs, your energy finally becomes available to you for your future. So here's what I want you to do. If you can, I want you to pause this episode after I give you a couple of questions, and you can get a journal and write these down or record this, or use your notes app, whatever it is. Just sit with this for a moment if you're not able to pause. You can come back to it later. I want you to ask yourself, what truth am I finally ready to face? Or what is it that I have been resisting about what's happened in my relationship, or where I am right now after my relationship? What is the story that I wish it were true, but now I know it is no longer true? I wanted it to be true, but I know that it's not. And if I stop fighting reality, what opens up for me? So if you can answer those questions, address those questions without judging yourself, because the truth doesn't need to have permission. It just wants to be recognized. So let whatever it is come out. Now, I wanted to share something with you, because we humans, we are habits of creature. We are creatures of habit. We humans are creatures of habit, okay? And we understand ceremony. Your closure is not about forgetting, it's about honoring, okay? So remember that. It's not about forgetting, it's about honoring. A ritual is simply a simple set of actions or ceremony performed in a special order, often with some sort of symbolic meaning. And they could be spiritual or religious, social or personal. That's what a ritual is. Put your Bible down. Put your holy water down. What I'm about to give you are personal rituals that you can use or adapt, or think something up for yourself that serves the same purpose. So you might want to do this. This is a ritual. You might want to write a goodbye letter that you're never going to send, which means you can put anything in there that you want. Anything that you've ever thought of or wanted to say to this person, you can write it in this letter, and then you're never going to send it to them. Matter of fact, I recommend that you sit somewhere or stand, read it out loud. Don't read it in the mirror to yourself. This is one of those things where I don't want you to read this to you if you didn't write the letter to yourself. I want you to just be able to speak it out into the space, and you're never going to send it. And then I recommend rip it up, throw it away, whatever. Another one is you might box up shared photos okay? Until you can look at them without there being some kind of emotional connection that's disturbing for you, okay? So go around and gather up all of the photographs and things of you and your ex and put them in a box and put it away somewhere. Now, I like to tell people this if you have children when we're talking about photos. I used to be a creative memories consultant, and it's just in me now. Take all the pictures that you have of your ex that your children might want, especially if it's pictures with your children and your ex, and put those pictures. You can divvy them up if you have more than one kid, or put them all in one box, and when you get ready to give them away, give them to your kids, you can have copies made, right? And even pictures of just you and your ex. You may not want an old wedding picture, but trust me, your kids might appreciate that later in life, to be able to have that photograph or something that has you as a family in it. But whatever the pictures are, don't burn the pictures. Don't rip the pictures up. If you have kids, put them in a box, label them for one of your kids or both of your kids or whatever, and just put them away somewhere. So this is another thing that you can do. You can do the same thing. Take your rings off. Are you still wearing your wedding band? Are you still wearing your diamond because you just love it? And look, if you are wearing your big diamond engagement ring, wedding ring, birthday gift, whatever, and it doesn't bother you to wear, then this doesn't apply to you. But if you do have jewelry on, if you're still wearing your wedding ring on your wedding hand, your wedding finger, ask yourself what that's about, okay? But you can take the rings, your jewelry, your clothing, gifts, artwork, even bedding that makes you feel tethered to your past with your ex, and you can get rid of that stuff. You can sell it, you can donate it, you can divvy it up between your kids. Not the bedding. The bedding's got a whole thing all to itself, okay? The bedding, I really recommend you go and get yourself new bedding. This is a great time to do that. This is a great time to redesign a space, or reorient yourself in a space with things that are just yours, that just feel like you. Another thing you can do is rewrite vows, but this time you're going to rewrite them to yourself. Now, recently on my LinkedIn, I posted an article about Tiffany Haddish. She took several girlfriends. She took 3 girlfriends to Africa for a month. And in one of the areas that they spent time, Tiffany had a wedding ceremony where she married herself. And she had vows to herself. Now, initially, everybody I told were like her girlfriends. They thought, Tiffany has kind of lost it. But after people saw it and they realized and understood what her mindset was around it, somebody was like, oh, you need to incorporate that in your retreat. And what it was for her was, she said, I have spent time dedicating myself to the needs of other people and learning and loving and giving to other people. And I haven't done the same thing with myself. And this is not the first time I've heard of somebody having a wedding ceremony for themselves. So it's not as far-fetched as you may think. But this is something that you can do. Write vows to yourself. And in those vows, what are the things that are important to you that you want to honor for yourself? How do you want to love yourself? What do you want that to look like? You can write whatever it is that you need to write. You can also do things like, if you haven't done this already, if you're divorced, hopefully you have, but maybe you needed to wait or you just didn't feel like dealing with it, close joint accounts. If you had shared passwords, all of these things, do these things with intention now and make it part of your separation ritual. You can do all of the things that I just listed. You don't have to do them all at once, but you might sit down and do a list and put these in some sort of order and literally create your own ritual, okay? If you have a place the two of you went, maybe there was a place that the two of you walked, maybe you go there one final time by yourself. But you go there and you think of how, maybe what led up to this being your spot that the two of you spent time. But now you sit there for a minute and have wonderful thoughts about your future, and that way when this place comes up in your head again, it's not coming up, dredging up the past. It can be the final place that you went to think about your future and to let go of that part of your past. You make it whatever it is that you need to make it, but you can actually do that with a location, right? And you never have to go back there again if you don't want to. Your ritual is how you acknowledge what is in your life right now. It's a sacred way of saying this chapter mattered, and now I'm turning the page. And if you'd like a little help reviewing how you can move forward, you can go to my website, www.divorceisnotadestination.com, And you can download in my resources my review and begin a new guide, and will help you walk you through some of your past right now and lead you into what you want your future to look like. So embracing acceptance has the power to transform you. You can begin caring for yourself without having to prove that you deserve care. You're not auditioning to be loved. You start advocating for your own needs rather than apologizing for them. And if you're honest, many of us sometimes got caught apologizing for needing things, wanting things, desiring things. And you can stop chasing closure. This is a huge one. Stop chasing closure and create it for yourself. You have the power to create closure for yourself. You can see yourself with softer eyes and speak to yourself like someone you've grown to respect. Learn to trust yourself again. Maybe slowly, but once it happens, it's going to be sincere. It's going to be authentic. And then in that stillness, you notice something beautiful is happening. You're building a life that fits you, not the version of you who was trying to be loved, trying to prove that you deserved to be cared for and loved, the version of who you finally knows how to love yourself. Acceptance doesn't end the story. It gives you a clean page to start writing the next chapter, the next verse, what I like to call the joy act. The next episode is actually like the bonus episode 8, bonus episode number 8 of the Lost Cycle Stages. And I'm going to be talking to you about rebuilding, not a return to who you were, but you emerging into the person that you're becoming. So look at it like this. Acceptance says, I see it. I'm seeing it clearly. I'm not trying to rewrite anything. Rebuilding says, I'm not stuck in it anymore. And I'm ready to stand on my story so I can build from here and move forward. So if you've been with me, you already know this. Divorce is not a destination. Your life is so much bigger and so much brighter and more meaningful than just one experience. You need to believe that and live into it. Be good to yourself. I'll see you next time.